It all comes down to this, ladies and gentlemen. Well, somewhat, right? We are here to cover the final match of the Swiss stage for not only CCG Esports, their opponent, Fly Family, a team composed of a ton of former Academy players. Some, and even in the NACL, the inaugural split of that one all the way about a year ago now. Both these teams going 3-1. Both of them somewhat comfortable quacks, but, well, you know, if you're CCG, you already understand that getting to that 4-1 can be so pivotal once those GSL stage games start popping off.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, both of the teams elated to make it into the top 16, but now the question becomes about seeding, right? Getting the higher seed, making sure that your record puts you against easier opponents so that you have an easier road ahead of you and can advance further and further in the tournament. And before we get into CCG, who we've been covering all the tournament, let's get a little bit into FLYF, particularly their game against TFT. We talked a little bit about it before this game, but they were about, what, 10k gold down against Team Fish Taco.
At
Managed
24
to
minutes.
managed to come back from all of that. So the mentals of the Fly Family squad here got to be over the moon after such an exhilarating game. And I think they're going to be riding that high in this all-important game number 5. So it'll be interesting to see what they do for draft and what they do for the game. And speaking of the draft, I figure we should get right into that one. And once again, teams deciding not to give us the names of the teams on those red and blue sides respectively. Fortunately for you guys, or maybe unfortunately for Slayer and I, we already know what the teams are going to be in terms of side selection. And I believe it is going to be CCG on the blue side along with Fly Family on that red side. So what do you think of this draft, Slayer, as we are still waiting a little bit for the game?
Yeah, so you know, it's spicy for sure. I just like to see the fact that if we're talking about Crimson in 5 games now, right? And we talk about the fact that he's a carry-oriented top lane player. He's played, what is it, 2 Olaf games, a Fiora game, and a Yone game. And I'm blanking on who he played in game number 1. I thought that was Olaf. Maybe game number 2 yesterday. Regardless, the dude's been on carries the entire time long. He's breaking out another one. Yone's very fun in the top lane because, you know, it is interesting. He was really fun for some players, very annoying for other players. Back when we had the old hole breaker and you could build out on Yone, you'd go Jockshow and you'd just be like an unkillable split push demon. A little different now. Crimson's still going to be piloting that. We do, one thing I know that you're a fan of, we do see Yukino. He played Maokai and Sejuani first 2 games today. He is now back on more carry-oriented junglers with this Nocturne that we're going to get to see from him.
Yep, I think what really worked in day 1 for the CCG squad was their ability to unlock Yukino with some of that early priority, allow him to be more aggressive, get in the face of the enemy jungler and in the jungle itself, really get to mess up that early game for the opposing team, get them to rotate in bad positions and force out fights that were disadvantageous for the opposition. And I think that this is exactly what they're going to be going for here in this game number 5. You have an incredibly hard pushing bot lane into that Ezreal and into that Ashe. And I think the question on that bot lane becomes whether or not they're going to decide to go for the double Doran's Blade start. This is a strategy that's been adopted somewhat recently, where essentially the support will go Doran's Blade, try to win out the early first few levels with the damage and item advantage that they have acquired. And this can lead to some early push, a lot of in-your-face aggression in that bot lane, and it can help Yukino continue to play the game that he loves to play, and that we've seen him play so comfortably, especially in the day 1 of OQs.
However, we did see a Blitzcrank have some pretty good success up against these 2 in the earlier Gentle Hearts Gaming loss, and Skytech certainly has the resume on the Blitzcrank as a player as well to punish them. So there's only one way to really figure out how well this will all play out here. One of these 2 teams is going to be slated for a great GSL spot. It's time to figure out just exactly how those are going to play out as we go live from Summoner's Rift. Final game of the Swiss stage for these 2 squads. Boy, we're hoping for a banger.
Yep, and no Doran's Blade going to come out here for Trevor, but Skytech potentially looking for some aggression.
Well,
forces the flash out of Flocon this early on, and in a mobile mage like the Hui, this is definitely not a good start for the pick.
no, not at all. That is something that I'm sure Goo, aka Min, in the jungle there, will look to punish on a Lee Sin, which is a very early game-oriented jungler. So, you give Yukino this Nocturne. Certainly a jungler needs to farm up, get to 6 to be really impactful. The window is open there for Goo to really take a hold of this early game, get those quick clears through. I'm going to be interested to see exactly how his start goes, as he does look like he's going to start right on those Wraiths.
Yep, and it looks like Goo, I feel like starting on the Wraiths, obviously, not only does it mask where you started, right? It allows all the laners to start up toward their lanes instead of going for a leash. And right as I say that, Goo gonna pivot on over toward that red buff. So forget what I was just saying. This Lee Sin is going to be starting red, pathing down toward the bot side. But on the other end, you can see Yukino going for the wolf start. And yeah, hook goes wide for SkyTech.
I can't believe that hook didn't hit. That was really dangerous for these two marksmen to sit that far forward, but the hook won't land. I know we talked about EU Red. We said that he's a great Varus player. His Ezreal is also pretty well renowned when it comes to his pool, so he's on that champion. I'm going to do the Ezreal conversation as I might not even have a chance. Level 2's not even available.
Whoa.
SkyTech already drops the Ignite, flashes forward if available for the first blood, but it's EU Red that gets it. SkyTech bit off a little bit more than he could chew there.
Yep, SkyTech goes down. And that's a little bit surprising to see. I mean, you look at the summoner spells of the bot lane for CCG here. Barrier and heal acquired. So a lot of respect being paid toward this more aggressive bot lane that the FLYF family have drafted. But they were the ones who won out in the 2v2, right? They didn't have the ignites. They didn't have the aggressive summoner spells. They still managed to get the kill. So this is a beautiful spot for CCG to be in this bot side this early on in the game.
See Crimson up to his usual antics. But yeah, I was curious why BMFX didn't decide to flash. I guess the barrier was enough. Would have been caught pretty much lacking in that one. So big one to grab. Getting that tier early is so massive on Ezreal, stacking it up because, yes, getting the Mount Immune as quickly as possible to Empire Spike is a big spot for Ezreal, but it's really when you get the more mana upgraded that he becomes a real mid-game Titan that just keeps on becoming a problem. Also, quickly want to say, last game we saw Ezreal take Conqueror. I was a fan of that. This is definitely a better PTA game, a much squishier comp to go up against for EU Red, so good to see that he is correctly, in my mind, Rune optimizing on this Ezreal. Barrier already out from Trevor, but there's just not enough damage on this Varus to threaten a kill just yet.
They managed to get Trevor relatively low, but you can see Goo has now finished up his full clear, making his way down toward the bot side. They could look to dive this bot lane, but both flashes available for the bot lane of CCG. This could be difficult.
Arcane Shift up as well. If you are not prominent knower of Ezreal, if you time the Arcane Shift correctly, you nullify the hook. It's really funny because the claw just stays on the Ezreal, but the hook doesn't go through. So another reason why Ezreal's a great pick up against Blitzcrank and topside. Potential dive
Maybe
coming
looking
across.
for a dive. Yeah, I mean, Q3 is ready here for Crimson.
Great flash to make sure the knockup lands. He's going to give the kill to Yukino, but that's that Yone tech coming through for Crimson. Usually gets the kills there, but giving it over to his jungler this time. Same result as the last couple of games.
Absolutely flawless animation cancel there from Crimson, and this is exactly what CCG like to do. Get an early lead here for Crimson, early push for this guy, and just leave him be.
Oh,
but it might be trouble in the bot lane. E-Red is down.
Yep, great recognition. SkyTech knows the interaction just as well. Tries to get the knock-up first, baits out the Arcane Shift, and then knows the hook will land. Does get the kill onto SkyTech though, so it's a big win, but it's not as much gold as you would have liked on this on-hit Varus we're expecting.
Now with the resets coming in from the FLYF family, there is potential for, if there was a contest on these grubs, SkyTech to move over, try to assist, but it looks like they are going to be uncontested. Goo just going to take this objective right out of the gate. No contest coming out for CCG. As you can see, Yukino just pathing toward the bot side. which is exactly what this champion wants to do. Get that paranoia as quickly as possible. Farm until 6 playstyle. We'll have to just wait and see what he does when he gets that paranoia. What lane he decides to focus on. Because he has a lot of options so far.
I like this recognized from Yukino. The trade you see almost every game Season 14, right? Oh, Grubs are getting taken. Let me take Dragon. It's a lot easier as well, the fact that Flaukon, Trevor, and EU Red all had lane prio. Just your standard macro early decision here with those neutrals.
Now I'm really interested to see if Yukino maybe has recognition that Gu could be on his top side, decides to trade sides and maybe split the map here, but it looks like he's just going to fall back to his own camps, not wanting to risk just guessing on where Gu could be. Just take the guaranteed XP.
See guaranteed trades coming across here for Crimson. Really good job utilizing the Spirit form. Make sure that he always has an out when going for trades against Aatrox. That's where you see a lot of players falter, is not respecting how much of a turn Aatrox can bring you, especially with Ultimate online now. But that Spirit form is always such an easy bailout that frustrates so many players going up against Yones.
Yep, it's a, certainly it is an ability. It's basically a free cleanse for the Yone if ever he is in trouble, wants to get out of a sticky situation. Speaking of sticky situation, EU Red gets the hook onto him.
Yeah, but without BMFX up close and Trevor having some solid damage, they can just sort of chunk out Skytech. He has to think twice about every combo he goes for. Crimson going forward once more. That's World Ender out, so Crimson just gets that key ultimate down for virtually nothing. Both junglers bot side. Skytech unfortunately finds Yukino. Can he flash away? The slows from the Ash Shower are enough. Trevor grabs that kill, and Gu will sink the Sonic Wave, but you can't take it without your support.
Gu just a little bit too far away to really influence that fight whatsoever. Skytech also caught on a relatively low HP bar, but now that is level 6 coming out.
Chains of
Paranoia available.
And a Sonic Wave goes through, and Gu follows EU Red through the Arcane Shift. Trevor now all alone in a 1 versus 2, backing towards the wrong turret. Such well timed there from Gu. Knew Yukino had backed, knew they had the window, and FlyFam double up in the bot side.
And I can't help but think if Yukino stayed there. Honestly, I thought he stayed there. I saw the emote in the corner of the screen, and I thought Yukino was still there. I thought he was waiting for the re-engage to come out from Gu, but yeah, he did channel that recall. It was a 2v2, and ultimately good call from Gu to stay on the map there. They managed to get themselves a kill, and now kills even about 8 minutes into this game, and no clear gold lead, no clear winner out so far in early game.
Like we've talked about before, it's what you expect of this high-profile match of Skytech. Getting out on the Rift, though, with that Blitzcrank. Misses the hook, though, and it gives Flaukon a window. Paranoia lights out, Spiraling Despair, and Skytech falls for a 3rd time. Spirit Rush has to come out from Cobb 9 just to keep himself safe.
Here comes Gu.
He is moving forward, looking for a charm. Flaukon out of a lot of cooldowns, but the Q will whiff, and he dodges the charm as well. Fancy footwork there from Flaukon.
They managed to pick themselves up a kill. Grubs spawning in about 45 seconds here. Skytech has respawned, but he's making his way down toward the bot side, so this Blitzcrank might be absent if there's a skirmish at the Grubs, and there's a skirmish in the mid.
Good kick, the Fear. Look at the turn from Flaukon. He just deletes Cobb before the damage comes through. Gu will make sure it's a trade, but not the expected result coming from the Fly family jungler.
Fly family, they manage to get a trade back. Oh, Skytech almost picks off Trevor there, but a fight in the bot lane. No, arrow goes wide. And yeah, these Grubs now going to spawn in just, I believe, 10 seconds here. 3 Grubs have already been acquired for the Fly family, so a little bit of pressure being put on CCG to take these next 3. And there is priority and health bar advantage in the top side there. Crimson slowly chunking out... Sorry, I'm blanking on the name. Slowly chunking out Dinka.
Dinka, yeah. It's his name is reversed. Yeah, it's backwards.
I love it when they change their names to not actually be their name, Slayer. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah, I can smell the sarcasm through the audio on that one, to be honest with you. Does look like though, the Gu is kind of forced to hover here. Crimson has got himself a pretty sizable advantage in the CS. Also, kind of threatening grabbing a second plate here. Dinka's certainly in an uncomfortable position, but Gu might have this dive read. He's not channeling it back, and the dive will come. Great flash from Dinka to dodge out on the Fate Sealed. Has the World Ender, can't get the pullback on the tether. and it will just be a flash down here. Valuable summoner down, but the dive, not the expected results.
Ult for ult, but no one ends up going down. And honestly, I would be in favor of Fly Family for that. They burned the ultimate coming out from Crimson, who now has the opportunity to go for a clean reset, maybe help on this dragon, spawning in about 15 seconds here. Without that fate sealed, you don't have a big engage follow-up for this Paranoia. It's kind of relying on the Ash Arrow hitting. And speaking of missing, BMFX, ult goes wide.
Yeah, Chains of Corruption, I gotta say, is one of the most whiffed ultimates I've seen, especially in the last
for sure
year or so. Mid lane though, potentially have another 2v2. Charm's gonna land, lights go out though. Spirit Rush will keep the Ahri safe, and they just burn through Flaukon. Good stun comes across with the Spiraling Despair, or excuse me, the Ash Arrow that definitely sunk. So Flaukon dead, Yukino safe, but great recognition of the Ahri tech from Comp 9.
And Dragon certainly going to be taken here now for the Fly Family. A numbers advantage in favor of them, for them. Yeah, just going to pick that one up. And this game, it is going to be an Infernal Soul. So not the best soul in the game, but still certainly one. Soul is like the one that you don't necessarily need, but it never hurts to have.
100%. I mean, you're just asking for extra damage. Can't hurt for that one at all. Also, it's fun with the new Infernal Rift. You know, picking up those extra little feathers, I would say.
Oh,
Red is gonna dove.
Red.
Man, I don't know where he went. That's the power of a Sundered side Lee Sin. And this game is slowly turning into the battle of the junglers, at least so in the kill count.
Yep, both junglers picking up their first item, Experimental Hex Plate, in inventory here for Yukino. But yeah, like you said, Sundered Sky for the 4-0 Lee Sin. Gu really coming out as the shining star here for this game 5. Fly Family going to be reliant on a lot of his picks. Crimson going in.
Coming across. Can he get the damage? Crimson does have it. Doesn't need the jungle help. Mid lane, though, a response from Fly Fam as Flaukon once again is caught around the brush. And this game keeps going tipsy-turvy back and forth as we expected.
Competition, able to pick that one up, juicing up the Ahri a little bit right as the Malignance is picked up for that champion as well. So mid lane beginning to be a threat on the side of the Fly Family.
Top lane, just like, feels like every early game, the advantage for CCG. This has been their style. We haven't seen a game where Flaukon has struggled a ton in a bit here. He did get solo killed by Ariendel once, didn't basically even. But now, unlike the last game, play for Flaukon a lot further behind than hopefully intended.
Yeah, certainly a uncommon performance from Flaukon, especially as it pertains to this OQ2. Usually he has been the rock in the mid lane, laying down damage for the team. But a lot of his beauty has come from those team fights, right? Being able to zone off certain members, deal a ton of damage, be that sort of disruption for CCG. And even though he has not had the best of starts here in game number 5, I do think that Hui, you want disruption, this is basically the champion to do it. Has so many tools in his 9 different abilities to just be able to be a menace in team fights. And that's exactly what I expect from Flaukon, despite the early start that hasn't gone super great.
Despite the early amount of deaths here from the bottom lane for CCG, they actually picked up first turret with all 5 plates. So that's a big reason why the gold lead, despite the kill deficit, well, marginal, is over an 1,000 point right now. Those pesky plates, always so effective on the gold lead in the new seasons.
Plates, certainly the name of the game, right? And it does help both teams that they each have 3 Void Grubs, so more plates going to be added to the collection. Unfortunately, have dropped. We are over 14 minutes now, and I think BMFX gonna look to take this turret, but a lot of defenses coming from the side of CCG. You can see that Flaukon not actually walking up, doesn't want a chance that Skytech could be in that bush. He's just gonna let the turret go down, and it's gonna be a trade of objectives, a dragon or a turret going over to Fly Family, while a Herald goes over to CCG.
That top lane turret is very low in HP. Trevor already coming over here. They're going for another dive. Bait Seal's going to whiff once more. Trevor's kind of caught. Has to flash barrier immediately with Gu's presence. Another dive unsuccessful in the eyes of CCG. They're still going to try and knock down that turret with Herald, I assume. We got a lot of members up here in the top lane.
Yeah, it's a party here in the top lane. And now a fight potentially going to break out. You can see competition. He's going in.
Charms up Crimson. Great use of the Fate Sealed. Is followed across. Paranoia
Whoa.
drops off. Goo has to dash back. Falcon coming. Good kick, though, to get Yukido off the rest of the squad. FLYF now forced to run for the hills as we get a big-time skirmish in the top lane.
Big time skirmish indeed, but that top tower still under threat. As you can see, CCG, they want to keep pushing on. It doesn't feel like they want to use the Herald. They don't want to waste this on the top tower when they think that they could just do it with a few autos. But BMFX potentially in trouble.
No Fate Sealed. Crimson doesn't have any of those gap closers, and the speed up with the Infernal Rift, giving BMFX a time to get to the Blast Cone, and he will get away. Teleport matched with that Chains of Corruption, keeping him safe.
Now, the mid lane is the focus here for CCG, and they have the Herald available for things like this. Try to time it with the Dragon so that they can get this important Rift, or not Rift, what am I saying? Infernal Dragon for themselves, and just force a bunch of members of the FLYF family to go on this Herald. Make sure that it doesn't deal too much damage to their mid lane tower. This is a classic maneuver that a lot of teams do, but it's still a good one despite its overuse.
They have to be careful, though. They are getting flanked on both sides here. And, oh, boy, what is Rift Herald doing?
Whoa.
Lands onto Crimson, by the way, and he's just dead. Great pick from SkyTech. The Herald falls flat, and CCG are left bewildered.
CCG, in particular Flocon, failing his driver's test, practically crashing into the instructor's $350,000 car. That'll get you an instant fail as they take down the Herald, and now numbers advantage with Crimson down. They're going to just go for the Dragon. Could even potentially threaten this tower, but the wave clear from Hui going to keep them safe for the time being. Not going to lose too much, but still a massive blunder there for CCG.
They're going to try and over-index towards this top side, get the turret knocked down. Cop9 is around here, but I don't think he realizes that there are people behind him. He might just get blown up by E-Red. The Charm, the only thing saving him, but the auto comes across, and E-Red punishes Cop9's aggressiveness.
E-Red with the American sniper play there basically hit every single Q. Competition 9 was not prepared for the damage. Essence Reaver putting in some work there. Some silly blast plant shenanigans are all that we get to see from FLYF family after that.
Luckily, despite the mishap in the mid lane earlier, CCG are still clinging on to that 1.5K gold lead, which will become less and less valuable by this point in the game. It might get worse as Yukino is caught in his own jungle. Another great hook into the kick. SkyTech continues to prove pivotal with this Blitzcrank.
SkyTech constantly looking for picks, despite the, I want to say, inconsistency of them landing. Still manages to find all-important picks like he just did onto Yukino. So now, mid-turret is pretty darn low. You can see that they are looking, or FLYF family are looking to try and take this one down, but so much wave clear is on the side of CCG. They're not going to let that one fall. But unfortunately, they have to let the top tower fall, as that is going to be an easy take for Dinka.
Like that trade over CCG, because Crimson, the split push master that he is, knocks down the first tier 2 of the game on the bot side. So you'll take that trade any day and twice on Sundays, which, hey, we are on technically still. Yeah. As
E-Red just going to farm up these mid lane minions. Mid lane turrets still up at 20 minutes here. This is the focus for both teams, and unfortunately, Rift Herald not available for either team, so no real easy way to knock that one down. And I think the worst part is both of these teams have good wave clear, right? You have an Ahri, you have a Varus. On the other side, there's a Hui, and Ezreal, and Ashe. There is a lot of tools in both of these teams to just be able to knock down waves, make it so hard to advance in the pushing game. And I think it's going to come down to a fight, trying to get a pick, a numbers advantage to scare the remaining members off of the tower. But so far, there haven't been a lot of objectives to fight over in these past few minutes.
No, there really hasn't. This is where a game can kind of stall out, but we do have a lot of split push priority on both of these comps and a lot of pick potential as well. And you're about to see SkyTech go for it again. Flashes to get a ton of damage down, but it's turned on him. Lights go out. None of his friends can save him. SkyTech falls. Ton of damage drops over with the Severing Bolt. Crimson going forward next with the Spirit Form. Looking for BMFX. Only going to drop some damage down. And CCG able to turn the pick play on its head.
He went down, but respect to SkyTech for that play. Flash Alt E. He was completely alone and ends up falling because he is so isolated. But that is a Blitzcrank play if ever I have seen one. But this is exactly what we talked about, right? Numbers advantage has been acquired for CCG. They get a little bit of damage on the turret, but the wave clear is still available, even with just the Ahri really hitting those minions. This is going to be such a difficult and long war of attrition for both of these teams. It's practically no man's land, the trenches, try and get this mid tower.
And both teams have just such an innate ability to target and pick off one member. And it's fun to see the ebb and flow of that. You know, can SkyTech get the window? Can the Ash Arrow sink first? Can Elise Sin find a pick? Here we go with Goo. He's going to get a big double kick down, but he's rooted in his face. Hook lands, though, in the background, and they do pick off Flaukon, so a trade comes across, but Trevor still likes their odds, going for the slows. Here comes Crimson flashing forward. Fate Seal won't land, and he has to go back. Paranoia lights out. More flashes galore burned. Yukino lips away as well, but the true shot snipe comes through with EU Red, who's been free firing in the background, and that unlocks the rest of the squad. Crimson will fall as he whiffs the Q2, but EU Red continues his rampage untouched and triples up in the name of CCG.
And after a huge fight, both of the teams managed to get the mid tower, the big objective for both of them, finally down. And this is where the game breaks open. But there's no time to rest. 30 seconds until Dragon spawns. This could be sole point for FLYF family. Both teams want to set up for this one. But Ultimate's down for some members. They're going to have to play around those timers. It'll be interesting to see who makes the first move. As you can see some pings toward the Baron, there could be a trade, but it's all a matter of time.
Yeah, the key Ultimates that will likely be down. Chains of Corruption shouldn't be up in time. Fate Sealed won't be there for Crimson either. Doesn't have Teleport on top of that, and he does look like he just wants to go towards the top side. CCG kind of indexing that they're willing to give up Soul Point here.
But this is a dangerous game to play. You can see all of the members of CCG on this top side. They might be looking to trade for the Baron. And yeah, they have the True Shot Barrage. They have confirmation that all the members of FLYF family are on this, but they burned that down super quickly. This Baron is still plenty healthy. They have to burst this down quickly.
They don't know. They finally will figure it out, but the Baron's below 6K. I don't think they can get over there. The power of the double marksman with a top lane damage dealer means the trade comes across, and all of a sudden the aggressive call pays off for CCG, repping the purple banner.
Really good call there from CCG. I think that they acknowledge that crucial ultimates. Like you said, Slayer, the Fate Sealed were down. They didn't want a chance going for another fight. Instead, they smartly pivot up toward the Baron. And I have to say, there are a lot of tools in CCG's arsenal to be able to take objectives like that super quickly. Ezreal with the low cooldowns, Yone with the low cooldowns, Nocturne has high attack speed. So there is a huge influx of abilities that can take objectives like Baron super fast. And now the question becomes, how do they utilize it? Crimson doesn't have the teleport. It's coming up soon, but they're going to have to try and set up for something like a 4-1. Maybe we'll see a 1-3-1. But I don't want to see an ARAM from CCG. We have seen that far too many times, and the wave clear from FLYF family has just become too much. Even with Baron, it might be too much.
They're going after the hero of the last fight. EU Red, though, great sidestep. Doesn't use the charm, but he does get assassinated by Goo. Goo will pay for it with his life. Trade comes across, and keep in mind, Crimson is free firing on turrets in the background. CCG just have to stall out. Hook goes wide for SkyTech, and FLYF family realize their base may be under threat if they stay here, and the rest of CCG aren't going to let up. Powering down through mid, just buying as much time as possible for Crimson, who now is on the inhibitor turrets.
E-Red is the sacrificial lamb, But in the meantime, like you said, Slayer, Crimson got so much done. Managed to get the tier 2 topside tower, managed to get some damage onto the tier 3, and now with the members split, they're looking for a mid lane play.
But what a pick. It's traded out. The Severing Bolt will land. SkyTech falls alongside Flaukon, and that gives Crimson another window. Gonna get some more hits down on that turret before he dashes back. And the push-pull of Baron becoming too much for Fly Family.
But you can see Trevor and Mr. Buenos Dias Yukino himself managed to get the tier 2 in the mid lane, so they are knocking at the door of Fly Family, and Goo is knocking at the door of Yukino.
Great spell shield, the Sonic Wave doesn't come through. Kick has to land, but goes back forward. Is Goo, gets the healing, likes his odds against Trevor, will fall, but look what he forces out of the rest of CCG. Crimson's key teleport down in the play.
Now a lot of push power from that teleport has been lost with it expended.
Oh, another catch.
Not a lot of damage.
Comp9 is gone in an instant.
Yeah, his fate has been sealed. He is back to the fountain. Crimson now 3 items strong. This Yone dealing so much damage, but doesn't have the teleport available. So now this split pushing game might come to a little bit of a stalling point, especially with that Baron buff running out soon. A lot of power going to be lost on this 4-1 split that CCG have been making such good use out of for the past 5 or so minutes.
Certainly got a lot out of that Baron, Quacks. They're now up over 6K gold, but like you mentioned in the pregame, Fly Family don't know how to come back when down a good amount of gold here, and they still have the pick potential to threaten constantly a lot of these squishy members, because everybody on CCG, one blitz hook could mean death.
For sure, and you know, I gotta highlight Crimson here in this game, but hold on, there's a fight going on. I can't highlight Crimson just yet.
Well, I'm not gonna have time to talk either. That's how quick the burst comes across, and Dinka is dead. Arrow, lights out, see you later, gray screen. They might have an angle to knock on this base now.
There's a dragon spawning in about 45 seconds here. Dinka will be back up and available for that one, but so much pressure is being created with this 4v5 situation that Fly Family have found themselves in now. Inhibitor going to go down on the bot side, and that's exactly where you want the super minions to be. This provides so much pressure for dragon takes.
That way's starting to hurt, Quacks. You get items on this way, you could get deleted from off-screen at this point, and a very squishy Blitzcrank build from SkyTech. He has a Luton's Companion. He is indexing completely on damage. Arrow is going to sink onto Comp9, but no Paranoia up in time to capitalize.
Yup. And now Dragon certainly going to go the way of CCG here. No contest likely to be seen from the Fly Family squad. And while we have a little bit of downtime, I just want to highlight Crimson in this tournament so far. Just the trajectory that this player has had in the past couple of years has been really satisfying to see. Has come from a family where both of his brothers, you know, have had a lot of history in the pro scene like him. Had a little bit of a rough struggle in 2022, but has since picked it up in 2023. And now the start of 2024 has looked beautiful on all of these picks that CCG have entrusted him on. And there's a fight starting.
Wow, I mean, Trevor dodging the hook. Look how much it gets. Paranoia, the arrow turn, the pick potential from CCG flying hard once more. Red, though, nearly picked off by Goo, who does land the kick.
Ooh,
and look who's on the other side. Yukino falls as well. Goo is willing Fly Family back into this game, but Crimson is going to shut him down from the Spirit Form. Flashes forward to make sure everybody falls. Triple Crimson, CCG, crowned winners on another fight.
CCG, they have teleport here for Flowcon. He can go toward this wave in the bot side, but it looks like they are not going to go for the end. They're saying we don't have enough time for it. Instead, we are just going to fall back to the Baron. And I love this restraint from the CCG squad. They know their limits. They know their timers. They know they can't go for the end with the respawns that are coming up soon. But this is the next best thing. They get the Baron. They're going to get it on 3 of the members. Let's see if they hold it for all of them. They are. I love this.
Smart. I mean, just great recognition. And what, you know, I know we sound like a broken record, but another just outstanding performance from Crimson on a different champion. He is just impacting these fights in so many ways. Another great animation cancel to get the Q2 onto BMFX to make sure nobody survives. And we're starting to see, you know, this game was really going to be about who can dodge and who can not get picked off. Trevor dodging that hook, dodging that charm. Massive, really was the reason why that fight got won in the first place.
And now Baron is juiced up. All the members of CCG ready to fight, but it breaks out.
Flycon's dead already. Can CCG get more off the back of it? A lot of key cooldowns down. And
Crimson
just seals the fate of FLYF family. An instant double, a great fate sealed. That could be the game. Paranoia coming through. Competition 9 can't go anywhere. And the future youth of NA sing home a 4-1 score, moving to GSL in the name of CCG.
Crimson saves the fight. 4-item Yone is not to be trifled with. 4v5 be damned, 3v5 be damned, and there's a reason his name is Crimson. It's because it's the red of the, it's because it's the hue that is going to be seen by FLYF family as they see the defeat screen, and it is 4 wins for CCG, and it is such a good Swiss stage for this squad. They pick up the win. What a game, Slayer.
What a game, what a weekend. CCG, they will slot that 4-1 score line in as well. Just massive, massive. Especially because, you know, when we talk about this team, right? Got to keep in mind they were playing with 1 sub yesterday, Flycon, who is not their starting
2 subs
mid laner.
today.
And 2 subs today. EU Red steps in. Those guys certainly held their own in this one, especially EU Red, who actually ends up with 10 kills on that Ezreal. But the point I want to sing home here is this team is actually, in a lot of ways, about to level up moving into the GSL.
Oh, yeah. Bradley has been in Korea, still probably is in Korea, but is coming back for the GSL stage. Instinct was sick today, but most likely will be cured by next weekend. The training weights were on. For the weights were on for CCG in this weekend, and now it is going to be such an interesting experience to watch this team with their full squad of starters at 100%. And frankly, I think any team, you know, going up against the CCG squad should be shaking right now. This is an incredibly scary team who isn't even at 100%. This is exactly what happens. I'm lost for words, honestly, Slayer. This team looked incredible throughout all of the Swiss stage.
Certainly going to be a fun talking point when we come around to Tier 3 tonight, which is always fun to watch from Grapes and Hawk. Curious what they'll have to say about this CCG squad, because they have, in a lot of ways, lived up to that number 3 seed. Obviously, you had Winthrop, if you didn't know, go 5-0. One of those teams you expected to end up 5-0. But this is certainly going to be a team expected to make it through GSL. They'll be in a bracket that I assume will be favorable in a lot of ways to them. Potentially could get some sleeper teams in their group. Like you mentioned, Quacks, I mean, you've got Bradley coming into this mid lane. Instinct had a fantastic day 1 while he was sick. What does he look like fully healthy along that squad? This could be a team in the promotion tournament. And we've at least backed that logic through the Swiss stage.
Yup. So I guess every tongue must confess, every head must bow to fear CCG as they exit the Swiss stage 4-1. But for now, that is going to be all from Slayer and I. We have been your casters for this week, and we hope you have enjoyed the games just as much as we have. And hopefully we'll see you guys around for the GSL stage. Until then, this is Quack signing off, joined by Slayer, and we'll see you guys on the other side.